Hello everyone, I'm Ge. Today I'll share our evaluation of Audio Metaphor, an AI-assisted tool for sound design, especially soundscape work. We'll call it AuMe for the rest of this talk. I'm very sorry I can't be there in person due to a visa issue, and I'm truly grateful to Philippe and Keon for presenting on my behalf and handling the Q&A. We ran a study with 71 novice sound designers. Each participant completed a soundscape design twice with the same theme. The first time without AuMe, and the second time with AuMe assisting their process. As we all know, AI is entering creative audio work quickly. For novices, there's often a gap between concept and execution. They know what they want to hear and make, but the early steps of learning are slow and discouraging. We asked a simple question. Can an appropriate AI-assisted workflow speed up early momentum without taking away creative control? Using AI tools will speed things up in some way, but many tools directly generate a finished result. That can leave people with little to learn from the process, or they end up learning primarily how to engineer prompts, which is a different skill. That's why we used Audio Metaphor. AuMe translates natural language intent into a retrieved and sequenced arrangement from freesound.org. It's worth noting the system was first proposed in 2012 and has gone through several iterations, long before language model AI became a phenomenon. Crucially, we updated the system so it can export a fully editable project in Reaper. That means novices can inspect layers, clips, arrangement, and make them their own. It's not one-click final. It's a scaffolded first draft you can refine. Our research question was straightforward. What happens when we introduce AuMe into the workflow of novice sound designers? We broke this down into 3 sub-questions. RQ1, efficiency. Does AuMe reduce time in key stages, sourcing, arranging, early editing? RQ2, performance. Does output quality improve, reflected in rubric-based ratings? RQ3, usability and acceptance. How do novices experience the tool? Usefulness, control, and perceptions of authorship. Our goal was a multidimensional evaluation, not only efficiency or grades, but also the creator experience, creative support, sense of ownership, and whether they would want to use the system in the future. These factors determine whether novices actually adopt AI assistance in practice. We used a mixed methods approach. Quantitatively, we tracked assignment durations and assignment outcomes, and we used CSI, Creativity Support Index, and SUS, System Usability Scale. Qualitatively, we collected open-ended reflections about process, control, and trust, so we can explain not just what changed, but why, and capture participants' deeper views on a system like this. Participants completed matched creative assignments in 2 phases. First, a conventional workflow. Then, we introduced AuMe. Participants finished the first survey and recorded the time they spent on the first assignment. Next, they did the second assignment with AuMe's assistance. Both assignments were finished in the DAW with the same brief and rubric. This lets us compare before-after outcomes while keeping assignments authentic to novice practice. Now, the results. With AuMe, workflows were faster across every stage. Overall time dropped by roughly 22% on average, with multiple stages showing statistically significant reductions. The practical takeaway is that novices reach an editable first draft sooner, leaving more time for intentional refinement. Participants were more self-confident about their outcomes with AuMe's assistance, and they received higher grades, about 11% to 14% on average. A quartile comparison shows stronger gains among lower baseline novices. High performers improved less, likely due to a learning curve or a ceiling effect. In short, AuMe helped more novices cross the finish line with stronger results in the same time frame. On CSI, we observed an average score of 66.9, which indicates good creative support. Participants tended to see AuMe as a tool rather than a takeover. On SUS, we obtained 64.3, roughly a C grade, suggesting moderate usability. We also included a custom Likert question on user-friendliness. The average was 5.1 on a 7-point scale, which you can think of as roughly 7.3 out of 10. For ease of control, the average was about 6.66 out of 10. These align with the CSI and SUS results. The tool is helpful and usable, but there's room to improve fine-grained control. The data also show that most participants were not fully satisfied with the raw output. On average, they kept about half of the clips and edited most of what they kept. Most participants felt more efficient and found the process more enjoyable with AuMe. Interestingly, only about half preferred the final outcome with AuMe, even though earlier responses said it felt more efficient, more enjoyable, and often higher quality. Our open-ended analysis suggests the frustration came when the output missed their intent, or when some felt the system was taking over the creative part. Another twist: most participants said they might use AuMe in the future, and 29 explicitly said they definitely would. Views on authorship were split. It's fascinating that participants had opposite views about prompting. Some felt that crafting prompts and iterating is authorship. They direct the arrangement and make editorial calls. Others felt this process reduced their authorship, as if the system sat between their intent and the timeline. Maybe this split hints at future product managers and future creative leads valuing different kinds of control. Overall, effective doesn't automatically mean fully accepted. Speed and outcomes help, but agency determines adoption. Clear sourcing, adjustable controls, and explainability shape whether novices feel like makers rather than operators. Those findings address RQ3 on user acceptance and experience. Regardless of efficiency and performance gains, participants generally found AuMe friendly and said they might use it in the future. The acceptance is decent, yet many still voiced concerns about authorship. Perhaps this tension suggests that when authorship feels ambiguous, efficiency and productivity remain very compelling. Of course, there are limitations we should acknowledge. Our sample is narrow. Undergraduates from Simon Fraser University. Even though Canadian universities are relatively diverse, this is still limited for research generalization. There is also a likely order effect. Novices completed one project before using AuMe. On the one hand, that mirrors real learning. If you've never touched a DAW, there's nothing to compare. We had to teach them Reaper first. On the other hand, students had very limited time. This was an undergraduate elective, so dramatic improvement is hard in such a short window. Another limitation is that AuMe's exports were MP3, which comes with some quality loss. Given the short assignment windows, we don't think this was the dominant factor, but it's worth noting. We also couldn't run a fully blind assessment due to institutional constraints. However, the grader was unaffiliated with AuMe, and grading used a detailed rubric. One more potential confound I realized while making these slides. We can't fully guarantee that nobody used AuMe or other AI tools during the first assignment, even though it seems unlikely and nobody reported it on the survey. Still, it's a possible risk. In conclusion, AuMe improves efficiency and raises average performance, especially for novices. To align AI with real-world novice practice and improve acceptance, we should keep outputs fully editable in a familiar DAW, provide provenance/licensing transparency, offer fine-grained, explainable controls, treat prompt craft as a design strategy, not a shortcut, encourage deliverables that include rationales for choices, not just audio files. These steps help novices build skill and ownership while benefiting from acceleration. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to discuss any details and thoughts. I'm sorry again that I can't join in person today. If you have questions, please ask Philippe and Keon, or feel free to email me.